Here's the truth. No one tells you the less you care, the more they do. But I'm not talking about being fake cold or playing hard to get. I'm talking about something deeper, something that changes the dynamic permanently. We've been conditioned to believe that effort equals results in love. Text first, stay available, prove you're the one. But here's what really happens. The more you invest in someone who hasn't earned that energy, the more they pull away. Sound familiar? So let me flip the script for you. What if I told you that the moment you stop caring so much, the moment you emotionally detach and stop needing validation, they actually start chasing you? Not because you manipulated them, but because you stopped giving away the one thing they crave most, your attention. This video isn't about pretending. It's about positioning. It's about stepping into your worth so powerfully that you naturally become the one they want to pursue. When you embody "I don't need you, I choose you," everything changes. You're about to learn the silent power of not caring, and how that shift in energy, even if it's just internal, flips the dynamic in your favor. Because when you stop chasing and start attracting, they feel it, and they can't help but come closer. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you won't just understand the power of not caring. You'll know exactly how to use it. Let's be real. Most men aren't wired to deeply desire what comes too easily. It's not that they don't appreciate affection or interest, but when a woman starts chasing, calling constantly, always being available, or trying too hard to win him, something shifts. The mystery fades, the excitement dulls, and that magnetic pull, it disappears. Men, whether they admit it or not, are naturally drawn to challenge and intrigue. It's psychological. It goes all the way back to evolution. The idea that something of high value doesn't just offer itself freely. It has to be earned. And when a woman isn't chasing, it sends a clear message: I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to live my life, and you can either be part of it or not. That kind of energy is electric. A woman who doesn't chase isn't cold. She's focused. She's selective. And that creates curiosity. He starts to wonder, why isn't she all over me like others? What makes her different? What is she not telling me? That curiosity drives attention, and that attention becomes attraction. Not chasing also communicates self-worth without saying a word. It says, I'm not desperate, I have options, and I'm not afraid to walk away from anything that doesn't meet my standards. That confidence is powerful. It taps into a man's desire to pursue, to win, to feel like he earned something valuable. This doesn't mean playing games. It means having boundaries. It means not rearranging your whole world to fit into his. It means staying connected to your life, your goals, your peace, and letting him come to you. Because here's the truth, when you stop chasing, the right man starts wondering how he can keep your attention. And when he's doing that, when he's investing, pursuing, initiating, you're no longer chasing love, you're receiving it. That's the shift, not because you stopped caring, but because you started caring more about yourself. A lot of people confuse emotional detachment with indifference, but they're not the same. And if you don't understand the difference, you could end up pushing someone away for the wrong reasons. Emotional detachment is a strength, indifference is often a shield, and there's a big difference in how they affect your relationships. Emotional detachment is rooted in self-respect. It means you're not ruled by the outcome. You care, you just don't cling. You can like someone, enjoy their company, even want them in your life, but you're not dependent on their validation to feel secure or whole. That's detachment. It's emotional maturity. You're not cold, you're clear. You're not shut off, you're stable. Indifference, on the other hand, is numbness. It's often performative, or worse, defensive. It says, I don't care at all, and I never did. That energy is closed off, and people can feel it. Indifference isn't attractive, it's alienating. It's a wall, and relationships don't grow through walls. So why is emotional detachment attractive, especially to men? Because it shows that your world doesn't rise and fall based on them. And that creates space. Space where they can step up, pursue, and engage without feeling pressured. That space is where attraction grows. You're not chasing, you're not begging, you're not trying to force anything. You're simply being, and your energy becomes magnetic. Here's the twist. You can be deeply feminine, emotionally warm, kind, and even vulnerable, and still be detached. Detachment doesn't mean withdrawing love. It means withdrawing neediness. It means removing the fear of loss. You're still present, still engaged, but you've stopped gripping so tightly to what might happen. When a man senses that you're emotionally centered, that his presence is welcomed but not required, it challenges him in the best way. He starts to wonder how to get closer to someone who clearly doesn't need him, but who still makes him feel wanted when he shows up right. That's the sweet spot. Because emotional detachment says, I have peace with or without you. That's incredibly powerful. It's not about pushing people away. It's about never abandoning yourself in the process of loving someone else. Indifference, though, says, I don't care if you come or go because you never mattered. That energy creates distance, not desire. So if you're trying to build attraction, to make him chase, or to shift the dynamic in your favor, don't fake coldness. Don't play games. Instead, build inner stability. Learn to sit with your emotions without reacting. Learn to observe rather than obsess. That's what real emotional detachment looks like. And when you master that, you become the calm in the storm, the one who doesn't need to chase, because they naturally draw everything in. When it comes to attraction, pursuit isn't just a preference. For many men, it's part of their psychological wiring. The act of chasing isn't only about getting the woman, it's about earning her. It fulfills a deep, often unconscious need to prove worth, conquer, and win. And when that dynamic is removed, when there's no challenge, no mystery, no uncertainty, the motivation to pursue often fades with it. Men are hunters by nature, not in a cliché or outdated way, but psychologically. The pursuit activates parts of the brain tied to desire and motivation. When something is too easy, the brain perceives it as less valuable. This isn't about playing games. It's basic human psychology. What is earned is valued more than what is given freely. Now, when a woman pulls back and stops overgiving, it sends a powerful signal. I'm not trying to secure you. I'm secure in myself. That energy disrupts the usual dynamic. He becomes curious. He starts asking questions. Why isn't she chasing? Is she losing interest? Does she have other options? And that's when the pursuit begins. But here's the critical part. This only works if it's real. If you're pretending to be unavailable while secretly obsessing or waiting by the phone, that energy still comes through. True magnetic detachment isn't about manipulation. It's about emotional security. You chase less because you need less. You're whole, regardless of his attention. This creates a gap, a vacuum. And psychologically, we're wired to close gaps. When a man feels that slight emotional distance, it creates tension, not anxiety, attraction. He feels the absence of your energy and wants it back. That's the chase, not because he's being tricked, but because he feels compelled to re-engage with someone who isn't revolving around him. Pursuit also helps a man attach emotionally. When he invests, when he reaches out first, when he makes plans and puts in effort, he becomes more bonded to the connection. He starts to value it. It's the opposite of what most women do when they're afraid to lose someone. They overinvest. But when you give before anything is earned, he hasn't had the opportunity to choose you yet. And people don't value what they didn't choose. By stepping back, you give him space to decide. And if he doesn't choose you, you've just filtered out someone who wasn't willing to pursue in the first place. That's a win, not a loss. So yes, he chases when there's something to chase, not because you're withholding, but because you've stopped trying to prove your worth. You've shifted from giving your energy freely to requiring alignment. And that's the moment everything changes. That's when the dynamic flips, and he starts showing up, not because he has to, but because he wants to. There's a powerful psychological principle that influences everything from economics to attraction, and it's called the scarcity effect. Simply put, we tend to place higher value on things that are less available. The rarer something is, the more we want it. And this applies directly to dating and relationships. Think about it. When something is always there, always accessible, always yes, we subconsciously start to take it for granted. That's not because we're ungrateful or cruel. It's because our brains are wired to chase what feels limited. So when you make your time, energy, and presence too available to someone, especially early on, you remove the mystery. You remove the space for them to wonder, to question, to pursue. And without that, desire starts to fade. Not because you're not good enough, but because you've removed the very conditions that create value. Scarcity doesn't mean you go silent. ignore messages, or play emotional games. That's manipulation. Real scarcity is about discernment. It means you're not emotionally available to everyone. It means you're selective with who gets access to your world. And when a man senses that, he feels like he has to earn a spot in your life. That's where attraction deepens. In the earning, not the receiving. The truth is, most people overextend themselves when they're afraid of losing someone. They think being always there will build security. But what it actually builds is boredom, or worse, dependence. And neither of those create healthy attraction. Scarcity, when genuine, signals self-worth. It says, I have a full life. I don't need you to fill a void. I'd simply enjoy having you beside me. That's powerful. That's what sets you apart from others who chase, cling, or overgive. Also, let's be honest. People want what they feel they could lose. When someone feels like you're not glued to your phone waiting for their text, when they notice you're not constantly available on demand, they start to lean in. Not out of fear, but out of curiosity. Out of interest. Out of the feeling that your presence is something to value, not something they can just assume. This is the exact reason why less becomes more. You don't have to be loud to be noticed. You don't have to over-explain your worth to be respected. Sometimes it's the silence, the space, the ability to pull back and not panic. That calm, quiet confidence creates more impact than any performance ever could. So remember, you are not the salesperson trying to convince someone to buy. You are the prize, the limited edition version. And when you live your life with that energy, not from ego but from grounded self-respect, the right people won't just notice, they'll pursue. Because what's rare is remembered. Neediness doesn't always look like begging or desperation. Sometimes it's subtle. It shows up in the little behaviors, the ones you don't even realize are sending the wrong message. And the worst part? You may think these actions are helping you get closer to him, but in reality, they're pushing him away. Let's break down the biggest mistakes that silently scream neediness and how to avoid them. First, over-communicating. Constant texting, double texting, always being the first to initiate, checking if he's seen your message. All of these actions might come from a place of anxiety, but they send one clear signal. I need your attention to feel okay. That energy is overwhelming. Healthy attraction needs breathing room. If he doesn't have space to miss you, he won't. Second, always being available, dropping your plans, instantly replying, saying yes to every invite, even when it's last minute, makes you look like you have nothing going on. That's not high-value energy. A woman with a full life doesn't rearrange her world for someone she just started dating. If he knows you'll always be there when it's convenient for him, the respect starts to fade. Third, seeking constant reassurance. Asking where you stand, needing frequent validation, or fishing for compliments may feel like innocent questions, but to someone who's still figuring out how they feel, it can come off as emotional pressure. Confidence doesn't ask, do you like me? Confidence assumes, of course I'm likable. You'll figure that out. Fourth, oversharing too soon. Vulnerability is powerful when earned, but trauma dumping or revealing too much too fast in hopes of creating a deep connection, that can make the other person feel like they've suddenly inherited emotional responsibility they weren't ready for. Let things unfold naturally. Trust is built over time, not in one deep conversation. Fifth, trying to prove your worth. Whether it's through doing too much for him, trying to fix his problems, or constantly showing how supportive you are, this can easily turn into over-functioning. The energy becomes, pick me, I'll do anything. And that's not attractive. That's self-abandonment. And finally, making him the center of your emotional world too early. Canceling plans, obsessing over his responses, or feeling anxious if a day goes by without hearing from him. All of that shows emotional overdependence. A high-value woman doesn't panic when she's not the center of someone's attention, because she's already the center of her own. Here's the truth. Neediness isn't about how much you care. It's about how much of yourself you lose while caring. And when someone senses that you're no longer rooted in your own life, goals, and emotional independence, the attraction shifts. The most powerful move you can make: pull your energy back, focus on yourself, let him earn deeper access to you. Because the woman who needs nothing often ends up with everything. Pulling back doesn't mean playing games, going silent, or punishing someone for not giving you what you want. It means returning to your center. It's a way of shifting the energy back to yourself, where it belongs. So you stop overgiving, overthinking, and overextending. And the best part? You can do it confidently, without drama, without explanations, and without losing your sense of self. So how do you pull back in a way that feels empowering, not passive-aggressive? Let's talk strategy. First, stop initiating. That means stop being the one to always text first, make plans, or keep the conversation going. Let him come to you. Give space for his energy to show up or not. The goal isn't to punish him for not trying. It's to stop overcompensating for his lack of effort. Your silence isn't a game, it's a boundary. Second, reclaim your time. Start filling your schedule with things that are just for you, not distractions, but genuine investments in your own life. Book that class, go to dinner with friends, dive into that creative project you've been putting off. The more full your world becomes, the less you'll obsess over why someone else isn't showing up. You don't pull back to get a reaction. You pull back because your time is too valuable to waste. Third, don't explain your distance. One of the biggest mistakes women make when pulling back is feeling the need to announce it. I'm just doing me right now, or I need space. No, you don't owe a disclaimer for shifting your energy. Your change in behavior will speak for itself. Silence is powerful. Let it do the talking. Fourth, stay emotionally neutral. Don't stalk their social media. Don't send accidental texts. Don't do the hot and cold thing. Pulling back with confidence means you don't react to silence, mixed signals, or attention crumbs. You simply stop engaging with anything that feels inconsistent. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with peace. Fifth, stop fantasizing about what could be. Bring your focus back to what is. Is he showing up consistently? Is he making effort without being prompted? Is he emotionally available? Pulling back gives you a clearer lens to see whether someone is truly aligned or just convenient. Sixth, practice non-attachment. You can want someone and still be okay without them. That's emotional freedom. You don't have to shut down your heart to be in control. You just have to stop letting your emotions run the show. Breathe, observe, respond, don't react. And finally, remind yourself daily, you don't chase what's yours. You attract it by being in alignment with your worth. Pulling back is not about withholding love. It's about refusing to keep pouring it into someone who hasn't earned deeper access. So when you start to feel like you're doing too much, pause, recalibrate, and come back home to yourself. Because confidence doesn't beg, it doesn't bargain, and it sure as hell doesn't chase. Staying high value and in control isn't about being manipulative or cold. It's about knowing your worth and maintaining your emotional sovereignty, even when things get messy or uncertain. It's a mindset that shifts your power back to you, so you're not tossed around by other people's moods, actions, or opinions. And here's the secret. Being high value isn't about perfection. It's about presence. First, understand that high value comes from self-respect. It's about honoring your time, your boundaries, and your emotions. When you value yourself, you naturally expect others to meet you there. This means you don't settle for crumbs or inconsistent attention. You don't make excuses for someone's bad behavior or prioritize them over your own well-being. Being in control means staying grounded in your identity, not bending or shrinking to fit someone else's expectations. It's about choosing how you respond, rather than reacting impulsively. When you get triggered, take a breath, ask yourself, is this true to who I am? Does this serve me? If not, you gently steer yourself back to calm. Another key is emotional independence. This doesn't mean shutting down your feelings, but rather feeling them fully without letting them dictate your actions. You can care deeply and still maintain your boundaries. You can be loving without being needy. This emotional balance is magnetic because it communicates strength and stability. Communication plays a huge role here. Being clear and direct about what you want and won't accept signals confidence. You don't have to explain yourself endlessly or justify your feelings. A high-value person speaks with clarity and listens with respect. They don't argue to win, they discuss to understand. Also, don't be afraid to say no. Saying no isn't rude. it's necessary. It's a powerful way to show you're in charge of your life and your choices. When you say no to what doesn't serve you, you open space for what does. This mindset shifts you from reactive to proactive. Remember, being high value isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling your energy and presence. You don't need to manage his feelings or prove your worth through constant effort. Instead, you show up fully as yourself, knowing that the right people will appreciate and chase your energy. Keep cultivating your interests, passions, and friendships. A rich, full life makes you irresistible. When your world is vibrant and you're centered in your joy, you attract the kind of attention that's meaningful and lasting. Lastly, embrace patience. Control doesn't mean rushing or forcing outcomes. It means trusting the process and your intuition. When you release the need to micromanage the situation, you create space for organic connection. So stay true, stay strong, and stay centered. High value isn't about perfection. It's about showing up with confidence, grace, and authenticity every single day. When you do that, you naturally remain in control, not by force, but by choice. As we wrap up this deep dive into the power of not caring and why it makes him chase you, it's important to pause and reflect on what you've learned. This isn't about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about reclaiming your power, your self-worth, and your emotional freedom. When you stop chasing, you create a magnetic energy that naturally draws the right kind of attention, the kind that's genuine, consistent, and aligned with your value. Now, what does this look like in real life? It means letting go of the urge to constantly seek validation from him or anyone else. It means trusting yourself enough to know that your worth isn't tied to how often someone texts you or how much effort they put in. This shift in mindset isn't always easy, but it's one of the most transformative things you can do for your emotional well-being. So what should you do next? Start by taking inventory of where you might be over-investing emotionally, mentally, or even physically in relationships that aren't reciprocating. Pull back gently, not as a punishment, but as an act of self-respect. Focus on your goals, your passions, and your happiness. When your life is full and fulfilling, you'll naturally become more attractive to the right people. Practice emotional detachment, not indifference. Detachment means you're in control of your feelings. You're not controlled by them. You can care without clinging. This creates a healthy dynamic where attraction can flourish. Remember, confidence and self-worth are magnetic. When you embody those qualities, you don't have to chase love. Love chases you. It's also important to set clear boundaries. Know what you will and won't tolerate. If someone isn't meeting you halfway, don't be afraid to walk away. The right people will respect your boundaries and appreciate your value. Your energy is precious. Protect it. Moving forward, pay attention to the way you communicate. Speak with clarity and calm. Avoid over-explaining or justifying your feelings. When you show that you respect yourself, others will too. This is how you maintain control in any relationship. Lastly, be patient with yourself. Changing how you relate to others and yourself takes time. Celebrate small victories along the way. Moments when you chose yourself over insecurity, when you didn't chase, when you held your ground. Each step brings you closer to a healthier, happier relationship dynamic. Remember, the power of not caring isn't about apathy. It's about choosing where you invest your energy wisely. When you do that, you don't just attract better relationships, you create a better life. Thank you for watching. If you found value in this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and share with someone who needs to hear this message. And as always, drop your thoughts or questions in the comments below. I love hearing from you. Here's to owning your power and living your best life. Until next time.